my dear students. So in the last class we have discussed uh, regarding the dispersion of the white light through a glass prism. We have seen the components of the white light, that are the VIBGYOR. Each color is having various wavelength and various velocity through different mediums, isn't it? That's why they are bending. The range of the bending is various when it is traveling from one medium to another medium. And as well, the shape of the prism, that is also helping for the dispersion of the white light. These are the things that we have discussed in the last class. And if we are coming to the innovator, the person who has innovated the dispersion of white light through glass prism, that is Sir Isaac Newton. And he didn't stop with that experiment with the one prism. All the scientists are like that only. Whenever they have found something, they will try to find some advanced options, otherwise we can say something new. They are always eager to find something new. So when white light passed through the prism, it is dispersed into various colors. So Isaac Newton thought that if these various colors are passing through a white prism, a triangular prism, then again these colors will be split. And he kept one another prism. Likewise, this was the first prism, and another one prism he kept, and he allowed to pass the white light through the first prism, and the dispersion happened, the splitting happens. But when the light, or means dispersed light from the first prism passed to the second prism, he could not see any difference. That means the emergent ray from the second prism was same as like that in the case of the first prism. Okay, then he tried the second prism, he kept inversely. Okay, he kept inversely. It is represented in the diagram. And then he allowed to pass the white light through the first prism, you can see here, and then that white light traveled through the first prism, got dispersed. You can see the red light is having lower deviation or less deviation, while the violet light is having higher deviation. And then it transferred, or then it is transported through the second prism. The emergent ray from the second prism, that is P2, you can see that it is the white light. It is a reverse process of the first prism. The first prism is dispersing the white light into various colors, and the second prism is combining the white light, the various components of the white light into white light. Actually, if you are combining this prism 1 and prism 2, you can see that it will almost like a glass slab. Am I right? If you are combining these two prisms, it will become a glass slab. Okay, so this is one of the major scientific basis or scientific truth, that the white light is composed of various colors. Okay, now come to the rainbow. In the rainbow also the same procedure is happening, but you can see that the rainbow is actually of the shape of a sphere, not like a prism. But in this case of rainbow, okay, at the initial point, wherever the sunlight incident on the point, let us take this point as A. At point A it is incidenting, and then it is, anyway, you know that the refraction will happen over there, isn't it? It means it is an air medium, rarer medium, it is the water medium, denser medium. So refraction happens, and the light ray bends towards the normal, isn't it? Okay, and along with that refraction, we can say the splitting of the components of the white light is also happening, because as we have already studied, the components of the white light having various velocities, or we can say various wavelengths, and because of that the range of bending is various for the components, hence the splitting happens. And now come to the point B. At point B, a phenomenon is happening that is known as the total internal reflection. Total internal reflection means the entire light ray which is falling on the point B on the surface of the water drop is completely reflecting back. There is no refraction happens, but entirely the light rays are reflecting back. And at point C, this is the point C, the light ray is undergoing refraction. Okay, sorry. So the light ray is undergoing the refraction, and we can obtain the various colors as their velocities are different. Distinctly we can see the various components of the white light, that is the VIBGYOR. This is the scientific reason behind the formation of the rainbows, and the sun should be on the back side of the always the rainbow is always formed in direction opposite to the sun. Okay, the opposite to the sun, because sun is over here. Okay, the sun is over here, and from you can see that sun is over here and the rainbow is forming opposite to it. Over here it is forming. Okay, these are the major things regarding the dispersion. So now let us come to the atmospheric refraction. Atmospheric refraction. Actually, in very sunny days, in sunny days, if you are going outside, you can see the blur images of distant objects on the land, or if you are passing through a highway, you can see the image, okay, a wavery image of the distant cars over the highway. But you may feel that some water is over there, or water content is over there on the road. That's why the image is formed. But if you reach there, or when you are reaching there, you can observe that, you can realize that there is no water, but still the image is formed. This is actually due to the atmospheric refraction. So you know that there is only one medium, that is air. Through air only the light ray is passing. So how does this happen? For refraction, at least two mediums should be there. From one medium to another medium, when light rays passes, then only refraction happens. Likewise, we have studied, but here only one medium is there, that is the air medium. And how does the refraction happen in this case? Okay, now let us see that thing in detail. Okay, here on sunny days, you know that the land portion will heat up very fastly. Okay, the land portion will heat up very fastly. So according to that one, the air slightly above the land, okay, air slightly above the land also will heat up very fastly. But if you are comparing the temperature of the air further above, okay, air further above, okay, over here I am just explaining here, okay, further above, okay, suppose if we are considering the air over here, okay, further above, the temperature comparatively will be lesser than the air portion which is very closer to the road or land. You know that the density of the air which is with the higher temperature, the density of the air will be very less. Then what will be happening? The lesser or rarer air, or the hotter air will move upward, and the cold air, or we can say the air portion which is having less temperature will move below. Okay, or the replacement is happening. Okay, so the medium is not stable. Okay, the medium is not stable, it's continuously varying. So the density, their temperature is varying as the density is also varying. So this is the reason behind. So we can say the hot air and cold air both are two mediums, because the velocity of light in hot air and cold air, there will be a slight change, a slight variation will be there. So we can consider the hot air as one medium and the cold air as another medium. Okay, so from cold air to hot air, when the light ray travels, a slight bending will happen, and this slight bending, okay, that light ray when it reaches us, it will become a reflected image from we may feel that as a reflected image from the road, and the medium is changing continuously. Okay, that's why a wavery image is forming. Okay, the medium is not constant. Okay, this is the atmospheric refraction. So you understood that the hot and cold airs are having various velocities for the light. Hence, in the sunny days, the air portion which is very closer to the road or land will get heated up easily or fastly compared to the air portion further above, and the hot air and cold air will be replaced each other. During that time, we can say the mediums of the light is varying continuously, the hot air and cold air. In such a way, a refraction of the light rays happens, and we could feel, or we may feel, that the image is formed over, or a reflected image is over there on the path or land. Okay, that is one of the very familiar example for the atmospheric refraction. Now let us come to the next example, that is the twinkling of the stars. Actually, you know that the stars are very far away from us, and we can consider them as a point object. Okay, they are like a point object and a point source of the light. And in between the observer, that is us, and the star, there are so many other mediums, okay, other disturbances, dust particles, then air medium, then water medium, water content, the moisture content, all things are there. So whenever the light ray coming from, or whenever the light ray passes through this atmosphere, okay, between the observer and the sun, they are undergoing continuous refraction. Okay, they are undergoing continuous refraction, and the light ray tries to bend towards the normal, or the light ray bends towards the normal, and whenever the observer sees the star, there will be an apparent change in the position of the star. It is visible in the, or it is represented in the diagram. You can see that actual position of the star was this one, but due to the refraction, actually if there was no refraction, the path of the light ray should be a straight one, and it is almost, okay, that should be a straight one. Now let us consider that one as a straight one. I cannot draw a straight line over there. Okay, it should be a straight one. Okay, but due to the refraction, because the atmosphere, the medium is the medium is composed of various type of particles, moisture particle, dust particles, and so many other things are ions, and all those things are there. So from medium to medium, when light ray travels, you know that the refraction happens, and the light rays from the star is continuously undergoing refraction, and when it reaches the observer, the path of the ray, or we can say the light ray, is moved closer to the normal, and hence whenever the observer sees the star, there will be a apparent we can say apparent change in the position of the star, or apparent star position will be slightly above, okay, over here. That means he felt that this light is coming from this path, okay, as a straight path. Okay, is that clear regarding the apparent star position? And is this one, in this one, the star is considered as a point object, and as it is traveling through various mediums, sometimes it appears the brightness should be more, maybe more, and sometimes its brightness will be get diminished. So the apparent change in, or the continuous change in the brightness that means the diminishing and increasing in the brightness, we can say the twinkling of the stars happens. Okay, the twinkling of stars is also due to the refraction procedure, and as we know, the atmosphere in between the star and the observer is varying continuously, or the path of the light is through a very unstable medium, we can say like that. The atmosphere in between star and the observer is very unstable, hence the brightness of the star could increase as well decrease, and due to this variation in the brightness, the twinkling of the star or stars happen. Okay, but suppose if you are considering a planet, okay, suppose if you are considering a planet, the planets are very closer than the stars, and we have considered the star as a point object, but the planets are very closer, so as it is closer, we can consider the planet is a collection of many point objects. Okay, then the variation in the brightness will be cancel each other due to each other means due to the number of that point objects. Means many points of objects are there. Sometimes a portion of the point objects will be brighter and a portion of the point object will be dimmer or diminished. Then the other time the other half will be brighter and this other half will be diminished. So their brightness and diminutions will be cancel each other, and it will be seems like a constant. The brightness will be feel like a constant one. So there will be no twinkling in the case of the planets. Okay. It is represented in the textbook. It is given like this: the planets are much closer to the Earth and are thus seen as extended sources. If you consider a planet as a collection of a large number of point-sized sources of light, the total variation in the amount of light entering our eye from all the individual point-sized sources will be average out to 0. Okay, page number 195, the second paragraph, underline that one and just write that one in your notebook also. Okay, now let us come to the advanced sun rise and delayed sunset. Actually, you can see here the horizon. The horizon is over here. Whenever the sun crossed the horizon, then only you can see the actual sun. Okay, I said actual sun. But even if it does not cross the horizon, you can see the sun. That is 2 minutes before. 2 minutes before it crossing the horizon onwards, you can see the sun. It is due to atmospheric refraction. The diagram, from the diagram itself you can understand the thing. Okay, it is almost the same to that of the stars as well. Even after the sun goes beyond or below the horizon, then also for a 2 minutes you can observe the sun. It is because of the atmospheric refraction. You know that in between the sun and the observer there are so many other mediums. Okay, in the atmosphere it is composed of so many kind of ions, dust, then air means various types of gases are there, all those things are there. So whenever the light ray passes through these mediums, they undergoes refraction, and when it reaches the observer, he may felt that the light is coming from this point. That means he felt the sun already crossed the horizon. Actually, this is the apparent position of the sun, and this is the real position of the sun at that time. In such a way, he could see, or the observer can see, the sun even 2 minutes before its sunrise, and even 2 minutes after the sun set. Okay, these are the major examples for the atmospheric refraction. And next day we will study the scattering of the light ray, other phenomenon of light. And you just go through the textbook and as well the exercise questions also. Now you can go through the exercise questions. Actually, in this chapter there is no much problems are there. That means the calculation problems are very less. So just go to the textbook portion, the exercise portion, and compare with the theory portion and try to find out the answers. Okay. So thank you.